Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. So this video is a little bit different. Today on Instagram, I put up a little, one of those little questioning things like ask me a question and stuff. Because I've kind of wanted to make one of these for a little bit even before I made the channel. Because there's when it comes to anything to do with art and photography and shit like that, there's always gonna be questions and stuff that people have. So I thought, hey, let's see if anybody's got any for me, and they did. So I've got a bunch here. The thing is still up, by the way. So if you're still watching this on like the day that I posted it, go and ask a few more. I might make a part 2 because there were quite a few questions. So I'm not sure if I'll get through all of them. It's gonna be a bit of a lengthy video, so sorry about that. But yeah, just watching and jump right into it. Okay, so nice and easy. First question is, what's your favorite camera? Okay, confession time. I'm terrible when it comes to choosing favorite anythings. Like, if anybody ever asks me, what's your favorite book, what's your favorite movie, camera, music, blah, 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 I can never give a straight answer because I honestly can't pick anything. I'm terrible at picking stuff. So, narrowed it down to 3. My first camera to just actually shoot on. It's this one. This is my Minolta SRT 101, little 35mm SLR. It's got a built-in light meter, little battery thing at the bottom, so I can chuck it onto, I can use that to help me gauge exposure and stuff. It's just got a nice little, I think it's a 55mm lens, so a good all-rounder. And yeah, it just takes some really nice photos and stuff, like some of my favorite ever photos I've ever taken have been on that camera. All my portraits and going out with mates, and some of my documentary stuff I've taken on that. So yeah, it's a really good little versatile camera that I love to use. I just finished another roll on it the other day, so I'm really keen to see how those come out as well. It's like my second time ever shooting with color film, so yeah, really keen to see how they turn out. My favorite one for more artistic aesthetic reasons is this one. So this is my Boulder Super Boldina rangefinder. So this is made in the 1930s in Germany. So German design, really strong, really tough. This thing has been through quite a bit, I can imagine. Either, I'm not sure if it was made in Germany, then brought out after the war or whatever, but still, there's a few marks and dings and stuff on it. So it's been through a bit, but it's really good. It's just a little rangefinder. So, if you don't know what a rangefinder is, it's just how you look. It's just how you focus and stuff like that. It just sort of goes off distance rather than looking through it with the mirror and stuff. 35mm, so I can still use it. I can still use normal film on it. This is one of my favorite cameras for street photography because it is so quiet. Like, the shutter is just, we're gonna rush the mic. That's it for the shutter. It is so silent, and it's really cool because I like being a little bit stealthy when I take photos of people in the street. Like I will occasionally go up to somebody like, hey, can I take your portrait and stuff like that. Usually people are okay with it, but sometimes if I want to get a more candid shot of what's actually happening in front of me as it's happening, I'll just use this, set it up, set my distance, and just hold it in my waist and twink, and just go for it, because you can't hear this thing if there's any other sound, really. It is so cool for that. Yeah, and the photos that it takes, they're not your typical, you wouldn't do anything really professional outside of doing anything artistic with this, because the photos that come out, they're quite misty and there's a lot of haze and stuff over them, but they're really cool. I really like how they come out because it's almost ethereal in a way, like it's a little bit ghostly, and I think it's really cool. And my third favorite camera is this one. So this is my Kodak Autographic Junior. This was made in 1917 in Canada. So this is sort of like a predecessor to medium format cameras. So medium format cameras, if you know anything about medium format, takes what's called 120 film. This took 116 film, so it's a little bit wider, I do believe, because they don't make it anymore actually. So it's functionally you can't really use this camera, but you can buy adapters that replace that little bit of wood. That's actually balsa wood to load the film in, so you can load normal 120 film into it, and you get these really cool big panorama shots. And I want to get that. It's like 16 pound. I think it's like 16 pound, something like that. It's made in England, so I want to have a bit of extra cash. I'm gonna try and get one and take a few photos on it. So I think I might make a video about that. That'd be kind of cool. Using a 102-year-old camera with modern film. That could be kind of fun. Yeah. Next question is, how do you get your inspiration? Inspiration. it comes to me at weird points, to be honest. Like, so on top of my photography, I also do quite a bit of writing. For anyone who doesn't know me in person, my first creative love was literature, was the written word. So when I was at 5, actually between the ages like 3 to 5, so before I started primary school, I essentially taught myself to read. So by the time I was in primary school, by the time I was in grade 1, in prep and grade 1 and stuff, I was reading 3 years above what I should be, because I just wanted to know what those little black squiggles were in these books and stuff, because, long car trips with my parents when we were traveling around when I was little, I had books and stuff that they'd read to me every night. I wanted to be able to read it by myself. I was a very independent child, so, so, and I still do that. I still read a lot. I read quite a bit, and sort of a side effect of being a reader, especially the stuff I read, which is a lot of classic literature, poetry, old books, like works of fiction, you sort of start to try to make your own. You start to build your own worlds and write your own poems, stuff like that. And I do that quite a bit. So sometimes I'll write a little story, or I'll write a few line poem or something like that. And later on, I'll be somewhere, and those words will be like in my head, or as I'm writing it, they'll be ringing around in my head, and I'll think, hey, I can make a photo out of this. So that's how I get a lot of my personal photos, like my more personal art-based photos. I write something first, and the photo comes later, or sometimes vice versa. When it comes to bigger stuff, like my school projects, the current project that I'm working on, the Come As You Are series, that I actually got inspiration for that from a YouTube ad. So there's this website called Masterclass. I do like online lessons and stuff with masters in whatever field it is the lesson you're watching, and one of them is by this woman called Annie Leibovitz, who's an American photographer. She's incredible. I love her so much. She's one of my favorite photographers. So she's been very big in the photography game since like the 60s and 70s, I believe. So she's like a commercial portrait photographer, as well as a bit of documentary and stuff. And she works a lot with like pop culture and celebrities and music, that kind of thing. So she worked for Rolling Stone for a long time. I think she was one of the founders of Rolling Stone, actually, like the magazine, when it came back out in the 60s. And she toured with the Rolling Stones, the band, not magazine, the band, as their personal photographer on one of the tours one time. And her photos are like paintings. They are incredible. Like I can't even begin to fathom how she lights these things. They're just beautiful. And in this ad that she was voicing over, she was talking about this author, Robert Penn Warren, and she was taking this portrait one time, and he was writing about dying in death, and she essenced him to take his shirt off because she wanted to see him without any guard. She wanted to see his skeleton. And that notion of using photography to show people as they are, showing people who they truly are and stuff in a very, very tiny amount of time, but make that tiny amount of time last forever. I think that is just incredible. Like the fact that essentially such a simple machine can do that, it's amazing. Like, there's portraits that I've seen and photos and stuff that I've seen that have really just hit me so hard, just because of how well they captured this person in that moment. So like, and it's no wonder, like, you go back nearly 200 years to, turn of the century, 1900s, and colonial eras, in places when photography was really just emerging and it wasn't very mainstream yet. It was, and indigenous cultures around the world, like the Native Americans and indigenous Australians, they all had, superstitions that cameras would steal your soul or your shadow and stuff like that. And I don't blame them for believing that, to be honest. And to be honest, I think it's true. I think when you take a photo of somebody, you do take a little piece of them. Maybe not their soul, regardless of whether or not you believe in that stuff, but you are taking a piece of them. So, and recording it forever, it's a tiny chunk of their being, of their whole humanity, frozen forever. And I can see why it used to terrify people, but it's gotten to the point now where it's beautiful. And even back then it was beautiful, but now even more so with the quality of the photos that we can take. So, when Annie Leibovitz was talking about how she wanted to, catch him without guard and see his skeleton, that just hit so hard with me. And it's sort of what I've been trying to do a little bit with this series. I don't know how well I've done it, to be honest. Like, I have very high expectations for myself. If anybody who knows me would know that I'm very self-critical of my work. but I think I've done an okay job, at least a few times. I reckon I've done a pretty good job a couple of times. Maybe not every time. You know, there's a few swing and a misses, as there's going to be with everything, but you can't be perfect all the time. But those ones where I think I have achieved that, I think I've done it pretty well, and it's just a really good feeling, you know. And other inspirations, just as weird, you know, like my Unit 1-2 art project I did last year was focusing on life and death and nature and stuff like that, because at the time I was reading a mixture of both gothic and romantic literature. And when I say romantic, I don't mean like lovey-dovey 50 Shades of Grey type of stuff. I mean, like, you know, William Wordsworth and Percy Shelley and stuff focusing on nature and beauty in the world and stuff like that. And at the same time reading stuff like Edgar Allan Poe and Emily Dickinson and stuff like that. And it sort of came to this weird melting pot where I wanted to, you know, photograph life and death as people. So that's what I did. I got a couple of my friends to model for me. I got my sister to do the makeup. I set the stage up myself, and, you know, yeah, my inspirations are very varied. They're very specific to the project they're doing, but they do generally have a root factor being words, and, you know, how language can spark creativity for me, at least. I think, yeah, the underlying message is words are my biggest inspiration. Language is my biggest inspiration when it comes to photography. So the next one, I quite like this one. It's what drives you to continue photography? I think for me, my drive to keep doing what I do is there is so much happening in the world at any given time in history. So much happening in terms of culture and politics and the environment and stuff like that. And at the moment, in this period of time, everything is available at your fingertips. You can see everything that's happening in the world. You know, like there's photos and videos of stuff from basically every continent on the planet. And I think what my drive is, I want to capture my piece of the world in this time. I want to utilize that technology and capture my world. So for me, my world it's people, the people in my life and the people I come across in my life, and the people that exist in this world at this time, and not just the people, well, actually not just the people either, that just anything that I have connection with and anything that I can see, if that makes sense. So like where I live at the moment with the mountains and the bush and the rivers and all that stuff, I want to capture that in case it's gone one day. I want to, because 70, 80 years from now, everything that I know will be different, everything I know will be gone, and it's almost selfish, my reasoning, because I don't want to lose it. I want it to last forever, which everybody wants to do. They don't want their life to end. That's why we push so hard against death. That's why we try to live longer. That's why there's always new drugs to make us live longer and look younger and feel better and stuff like that. And whilst I'm not afraid of death, I don't want it to come too quickly. And I want to be able to capture my life as it happens. So my strive for it really is so that when I'm old and I can't take photos anymore, or I can't see the people I love anymore, or they're not even there, that I can look at them throughout my life. I can look at these events that shaped me to the man that I will be when I'm sitting in that chair, and hopefully look at these photos and smile, knowing that I lived a life that I wanted to live. I lived a life that I'm proud of, which is why, especially the photos of the people that I take, are so important to me. I want to take photos of people who I think are remarkable in their own way, because I feel like everybody in their own way deserves to be remembered, be it my best friends at school at the moment, or, you know, activists, you know, fighting for a cause that I believe in and that I want to help in, or even just, you know, people that I think deserve to be remembered. Because I think like everybody I know, for whatever reason, deserves to be remembered, and if no one else will do something to make sure that they are remembered, then I will do that. I'll make sure that my world and my family and my friends and everything that exists now is remembered, at least, you know, through my eyes. How I see it will be remembered. And the last question is from my friend Courtney, because Courtney's always great to ask questions, and her question is, why are you such a hoe? Courtney, we both know that's very much not true. At least for me it is. So, yep, I think I'm going to end it on that one. Cheers, Court. I've got a few more I'm going to answer, but depending on how many more I get on my post, I might have some more for a second part of it, like for a second video that I might do later on. If you have any questions after watching this, chuck them in the comments below and stuff, and I'll write them down. I'll make some answers for them. Yeah, so I hope you guys learnt a little something from this video. I hope this helps you know a little bit more about me and my photography. And I quite enjoyed making this, even though I ran through pretty much the entire thing and then realized that I hadn't pressed the record button, so I had to do it all again. Yeah, this is like a third run of doing this, but I had a really fun time doing this, so I hope to do more in the future. So if at any point you guys have questions for me, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll leave a link to that down below. Stuff like that. I've got some exciting news on the way. I'm going to announce that in my next video, so stay tuned for that. And I'm hopefully in a couple of weeks going to be finally doing the second part to my 4x5 series. It's just I've been so busy with school and other stuff at the moment, I haven't had time to do it, but I've got something possibly lined up. Well, something that I'm going to try and line up in next weekend. And if I can get that sorted, then I'm going to be able to, then the next video should be really cool. I'm really keen for it. So again, thank you for watching. I know it's a bit of a lengthy video, but yeah, hopefully it was worth the time and the internet usage. And until next time, I'll see you later.